This is Rick Leunisse. The week his daughter was born, he walked away from a partner-track career at PwC to bet on a business that was still unpopular in Europe. Rick built one of the very first Extend apps in Europe, and today he's the co-founder of Incubane, a company that specializes in creating Extend apps for Workday. And the first 12 months were pretty successful. 0 to 40 customers, 0 to 20 employees. So if you've been hearing the words Extend, agents, and now Sana on every Workday call but never got a straight explanation, well, this is the episode that fixes that. Rick is going to give you, number one, the plain English rundown of what Workday Extend actually is. Number two, the cleanest definition of an AI agent you'll get from anyone in the Workday world, what Sana is and what changes it will bring to the ecosystem, and then also a live demo of agents shipping a real Workday functionality. I'm Mahdi, and this is Ask an Expert. Rick, thank you very much for being here today. How are you doing?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Very excited to be here, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, very excited as well. I do remember the first time I reached out to you last year when we tried to meet up at Rising, but we all know that Rising is pretty hectic. We couldn't, so I'm happy to record this episode today with you.
Yeah. Though, I've been following you on LinkedIn for quite some time, so it's an honor to be on the podcast.
Appreciate it. Well, Rick, for the people who don't know you, tell us about yourself. Tell us about how did you come to the Workday ecosystem?
Yeah, so I've been in the Workday ecosystem for a little over a decade now. Basically grew up with Workday. For a long time I was a consultant, started my career at Capgemini and then moved over to PwC. And about a year ago we started a new company fully focused on Extend and innovation, Incubane. So that has been my life now for the last year.
Awesome. We'll get to Incubane very soon, but I'm very curious, when you got started at Capgemini and PwC, were you always on the technical side or did you also do like functional configurations?
So, by nature, I wouldn't even say I'm technical. My background is in psychology, so I studied organizational psychology, and that's where I learned about HR. So I remember I saw a vacancy at Capgemini that says HR tech consultant, and I didn't even know that was a thing, but then I thought, well, this seems like the perfect fit for me. But I had no clue about Workday or SuccessFactors or anything like that. But of course, you need to take the step yourself.
Yeah, you need to be proactive, as everyone says it. Well, tell me about that first Extend project back in 2017. I think you mentioned you were on the same project as Matt, your now co-founder.
So it was probably to date my favorite project and customer I worked with. The customer is Fugro, a Dutch company. And we did their initial Workday implementation. It was a big project. At that point in time, the CHRO was also very involved in the project. So it was really one of his key projects that he had on his radar. And he basically pitched the idea to Erwin, the CHRO. Fugro is a professional services organization by nature. So basically they staff people on different projects with different customers. So we pitched the idea of building a CV generator in Workday so that every employee could easily get a CV out of Workday that they could easily tailor based on the project needs or the RFP that they were submitting for. And then you get a consistently, nicely branded CV that you could put in RFPs or send to customers. So it was not even really an HR use case. It was more for their core business. That's why I think they really appreciated it, because it was also thinking along with them and really understanding their business model.
I love that. I've seen those kind of software outside of Workday before, and I see the value in the professional services businesses and even staffing or recruitment as well. So you're saying that you built that inside the Extend platform, and so it's fully integrated with their Workday tenant.
Exactly, yeah. So, of course, it was one of the first Extend apps globally. So, it was a lot of duct tape and improvising at the time. But it worked out great. And what you also saw there, it really boosted adoption, because all of a sudden employees were motivated to make sure that all their data is up to date in Workday. The sales teams were using it to respond to RFPs more quickly. So this was really, I think, 2 or 3 months after the go live of Workday, and this really gave it another boost. And I think really changed, well, not changed, but set a great sentiment around Workday as a platform. So not only as an HR platform, but more as a people platform.
Yeah, and also that aspect of customization, because I do remember when I got started, everyone would tell me like, hey, we need to implement it as is, a very low customization, but then Extend came in and there's a new whole world that opened up. So, okay, very good. By the way, for context, I know you know that because I told you, but for the audience, even after 8 or 9 years in the ecosystem, I've yet to see a real Extend app or how it works, and I know a lot of people in the same situation. So later in the episode, maybe we'll get to see a few more demos from your side, but you told me that it was a kind of pivotal moment in your career. Tell me about how you felt, really. It was your first Extend app, your first customer where you were implementing that. How did you feel, or what did you do to kind of make it a success on your side?
So from that perspective, we felt a lot of support to try to innovate. And I think that's very important if you are in an HRIS team. And also the CHRO, right? How often do you have a CHRO of a big company? There are 10,000 employees. So I definitely still had a big role to play in leading those implementations, selling new work, all the things that you are supposed to do at a consultancy firm. But then really my passion was about Extend and making it bigger. So I was personally very excited about the opportunity that it will bring to customers, but also to us as PwC in terms of new opportunities to grow. So I spent a lot of time in just going on stages saying, okay, this is why you need to think about Extend. This is what it can do for you. Because to your point, Mahdi, everybody had in their mind, no, Workday is standard, it's configuration only. And I think it made a lot of sense at the time that Workday was really pushing that message. But then you are sort of bringing a new message like, yes, it's configuration only, but you can also do more things. So that also took some time for the market to really see what is possible. And I think even to this day, not everybody is really aware yet of the power of Extend or the Workday Marketplace.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. Most of my customers that I've ever worked with, they never think about Extend. I think it's like our job as consultants to bring that on the table and show them, because it's still, I would say, it's still a niche product. Like it's not the most popular module in Workday yet. So. Obviously, with Incubane and with all of the content that you're creating, you're changing that, so I'm happy about it. So looking forward to seeing more of that. Cool. So tell me about your last few months or your last year at PwC. How did you have that idea ingrained in you in terms of like starting your own business and starting Incubane?
Yeah. So at the time, Matt had left PwC. He moved to Kainos, and he built a great team at Kainos, and Kainos at the time was leading the Extend market. And I think like many people do, we started fantasizing about, okay, it would be cool to do something together. Why shouldn't we build a new consultancy organization? Then we said, okay, we cannot be the guys that continue to talk about it and only dream about it and then just stay in our stable career. So we basically said between now and next Workday Rising, we need to make a decision. Either we're going to do it or we're never going to talk about it anymore.
That's amazing. Tell me, how did PwC react? Team that you're working with, how was that for that last week at PwC?
Yeah, so it was definitely a mix of emotions, I would say, because I had such a great team there, and you do so many projects together. You spend more time with some of these people than with your close friends. So a lot of people really expressed, okay, we know you are this type of guy, so we wish you all the best. So it was a bittersweet goodbye.
Yeah, got it. And that's how Incubane, was born. Incubane, as you said, is all about Extend apps, the marketplace in Workday, and now agents and Sana. And that's, I think, the main reason why I was excited to talk to you as well, because, as I said, a lot of consultants, even customers, don't know much about Extend and the marketplace, not even the AI agents that came recently. So my goal now for the rest of the episode is to break that down maybe step by step. I think we can start with Extend. I think you wanted to show us an example. First of all, just reiterate what Extend is. What's the definition? If I was a customer, I went live recently, how would you describe it to me?
Yeah, so I always compare Extend a little bit to the iPhone, right? So the iPhone out of the box is a beautiful product, but it becomes even more interesting when you start adding these new apps to your iPhone. So I can build new apps, but they share the existing Workday UI, the data model, the security model. So as an end user, I don't even know that I'm using an Extend app, but I can still bring a lot of new functionalities that were not possible before. So we often see on community requests for certain features. So one of them was 360 feedback.
Okay, amazing. Do you have something that you can show us as an example?
So is this okay?
Yeah. This is perfect. Yep, go for it.
Okay. So this is one of the examples of an Extend application. So basically, Extend lives natively in Workday. So I can also search here for 360 feedback and I can find the hub. I can go to my profile and basically anywhere where you would expect normal Workday to show you 360 feedback, that's possible. And all these pages that you see here, for example, my assessment, team assessments, these are all native Workday Workday Extend pages that we built. So 360 feedback, for those who don't know, it's a very common process in a lot of organizations. I can basically ask for a new assessment. So I say, well, I want to do Transformational Leader 360. Let's do it end of May. And then we want to request it for Beth. And right now on the right side, you see a preview of the template. So people can rate people with these sliders. You can create a lot of custom templates. And then here I see, okay, it's going to be anonymous. I can do a self-assessment if I want to. And you see it also defaults in, okay, the manager will give feedback, the matrix manager will give feedback. I can set certain thresholds for when it will be released. It automatically fills in the peers, the direct reports. And then if I click now OK, it basically kicks off a business process. So just like any other Workday process, you will see in the inbox items the assessments coming in.
You know, people keep saying that Extend looks like Workday, and before I had no idea, what they meant. But this is real. Like it looks like a Workday feature. It's not something that someone coded or customized. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. I think we've come a long way since we did that first Extend app, because you can even now include a lot of configuration. So we have template management built in. You can configure AI. So for a lot of these things, you don't even need to go into the Extend code, because we basically build pages for functional configurators to do it. And just like you would configure any BP, you would also configure your 360 feedback BP.
Okay, that makes sense. That's perfect.
Yeah.
I'm still curious about one thing. So, do you get to tell customers about Extend because they come to you saying like, "Hey, can Workday do XYZ?" And then you say that no, but we can develop it if you're interested. Is that the kind of like the easiest segment where Extend can be plugged in?
I think so. Yeah. So. We now also see some customers already having Extend in their initial deployment because during the RFP they selected Workday, but there was just this one feature missing. So then Workday, of course, also positions Extend. But I think most often it's with more mature customers who have been live on Workday for a year. They have the core modules implemented they wanted, and they are now exploring, okay, what else can we do?
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And last note on Extend, when you develop an Extend app, does it automatically upload to the marketplace, or do you make that decision, or do you create an app just for this customer, or do you make it public? How does that work?
Yeah, good question. So The marketplace is relatively new, so I think it's now 2 years old or something like that. And the marketplace, very interesting concept, because if we look again at the iPhone example, the iPhone, of course, is an app store where you can see all those different apps. And Extend never really had something like that. So, of course, it had some websites where you could see some examples. But now with Workday Marketplace, they are making it possible also for customers who don't have Extend to get a marketplace app. And under the hood, it's the same technology. But the big difference is that all customers who buy something from the marketplace are using the same version of the app.
I love that. So yeah, I think the sky is the limit. Then you can develop pretty much what you want, and then any customers who are interested can either come to you for a new app or take it from the marketplace. I think I love that new model.
Yeah, no, I think it's very powerful. And yeah, what you also see with Workday, and I'm sure you've noticed, and Workday is now doing so many things in finance, and they are acquiring different companies, so they are becoming broader and broader. So you do see that certain modules get less attention, and you might not see all the features that you would like to. And I think with the marketplace, we can sort of close that gap where a lot of customers are looking for features. And maybe it's like 50 customers, which for Workday is very small, with all the thousands of customers they have. But then for partners, being able to help 50 customers at a time is very interesting.
Yeah, very good. Awesome. And I think you gave me the perfect transition. Talking about Workday and their acquisition, pretty much everyone knows they acquired Sana last year. They even retired the word Illuminate a few weeks ago as well. But first of all, what's your definition of an agent? What's agentic AI? What's the difference? Because customers always mix both terms.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense that we sometimes get confused and with all the marketing that is going on and all the different terminologies. So very simple. You have ChatGPT, which everybody knows, which is a large language model. And a large language model can only respond in chat. So they can basically, you ask them a question, they respond. So it's basically ChatGPT that can interact with Workday or with Salesforce or with your email system. And it does that via APIs in the end, right? So just like any other integration, you can basically say, hey, please update my personal details because I moved to a new house. This is my new address. And then it can make that update in Workday. And you also have different types of agents. And I think especially if I see my customers who work in HRES are basically hyping everything up as an agent. So of course I understand it from a commercial perspective, but it can also get quite confusing and overwhelming.
Yeah, and you gave a very good example with the agent that you just described, meaning, for example, just chatting with an agent saying like, hey, I moved, can you change my address, without logging into Workday, going onto my personal profile and doing all of that manually. Yeah. That's relatively straightforward and simple. Have you seen or do you imagine a more complex workflow that could add a lot of value?
Definitely, and we are building a lot of them already. So I think where it will probably start is that we will have managers and employees use agents to do all those HR transactions that they get confused with, right? Because all of us are working in Workday on a daily basis, so we understand how it works. But if you do a change job twice a year, then it can be a very confusing process. We are now, for example, building a executive coaching agent. Executive coaches are, 200 euros an hour, and only basically reserved for the top executives, and they get a lot out of it in terms of improving their leadership style. But this is actually something that we can do really well with AI, because we can see all the context in Workday, we can see what kind of feedback you received, your performance reviews, and then in Extend we store additional information about your leadership style, about previous coaching sessions, and then all of a sudden you have access to a coaching agent that understands you, that remembers conversations you had before, and that can give you really relevant advice 24/7 basically. So for me, I think in the talent and performance area, there's so much to gain because you can do things that you couldn't do before due to skill. And with AI and agents, all of a sudden that is more realistic.
Yeah, and this is crazy, everything that you're saying. It's crazy that we're talking about this stuff, and those stuff are possible and will become even more possible in the next few months and years. I'm thinking about a lot of newer employees in the HR department that can use those agents to just ramp up very fast instead of going over all of those policies. Even the people who are not familiar with Workday, doing those transactions can take a lot of time in terms of training. So those agents can also add value. And then to your point, executive coaching is super expensive, and you're dealing with another human with other emotions and other way of thinking. When you're dealing with raw data inside Workday, and Workday has tons of data, I think it can become even more niched and more relevant. So I love those ideas. And you're saying that those agents can only be, so are they all being held in Sana, inside of Sana, or is there, how does it work usually with Sana specifically?
Yeah, good question. So Sana is basically, of course, Workday acquired Sana, but Sana will also be sort of their new umbrella term for everything around AI and agents, like Google has Gemini, and so they have different Sana products. One of them is Sana Agent Builder. It was formerly known as Flowwise. And that is really your enterprise environment to build complex agentic solutions. But they also have other products where you can build smaller agents that are more for personal use or for departments where, for example, you say, well, if I get an email in the HR inbox, I wanted to create a ticket in ServiceNow. So those kind of workflows you can also easily build with Sana as well. So it will offer for different personas within HRES. You will see different solutions, and you can of course also go outside of Sana. So whether you use Copilot Studio or any other solution of one of the other big providers, but then still you can use Agent System of Record to track all the agents.
Okay, that's all awesome in theory. For the people who are watching on YouTube, we'd love to see a quick demo of how what it looks like.
So this is a hiring manager assistant, and you now see it in Sana Agent Builder, but you are also able to service this in Microsoft Teams, in Slack, or wherever your users are working. And I can say, for example, I want to open a job requisition. And basically, immediately you see reasons that are needed, right? And instead of typing it exactly, I can just say additional approved staff. So it already makes it a little bit easier because you can use natural language. Doesn't matter if you make a typo. And I want to hire a senior Workday Extend developer. And now it's looking within Workday what are the relevant job profiles. So it finds junior Workday Extend developer and senior Workday Extend developer. Let's go with senior. It already recommends me, of course, to do the senior one. And now also creates a full job description. And that is based on the data within the agent, but I can also easily add to it. So it asks me to review the job description. I say, please also add our values. Having fun, delivering quality, driving innovation, and sharing knowledge. But I can also say, for example, I actually want this person to speak this and this language or have experience with this and this. So very simple, within seconds, you see that here you see the core values that have been incorporated. And then within seconds, I see which candidates I need to review. It gives me a nice summary. I can also click here to go into Workday. So all of these things you would do in Teams or in Slack. You don't even need to go into Workday for any of this anymore. So that was a quick demo of Sana Agent Builder.
Awesome. Appreciate that. It's great to see it for the one of the first times. So I appreciate you sharing this with us. So will that work? Will that always work as kind of two instances? So I'm on the Sana Agent Builder. I can interact with the agent there, and then the agent would answer in the Sana interface. So it's not going to be like inside the tenant of Workday.
I think at this point, I'm not 100% sure if it will also be available in the AI section of Workday. I would assume so. I think
Safe
likelihood is yes. So Sana Agent Builder is not yet available, but this summer it will become available for early adopters, and then later this year it will be general available. But I think it's very likely because you will also be able to interact with other agents. So another agent might actually call my agent to say, hey, Rick, I have a manager who wants to know something about his upcoming interviews. And it will know, oh, this hiring manager assistant is the one I need to talk to. So as an end user, I will not speak to 50 different agents, but there will be most likely in most companies one super agent that can sort of orchestrate the different agents and is aware of what the different agents can do. So it will know what the query is that it needs to answer, and then basically will scan all the different agents to see who is best fitted to answer that.
Okay. That is amazing. That is a huge opportunity. I'm talking also specifically for consultants to learn about those and just get educated about all of these updates as they will become more relevant in the future for sure. Yourself.
Yeah, so it basically recognizes you as a person and then has the same security access that you would have.
Okay.
And then here you see a list of interviews or interview questions that I can use for that conversation. So yeah, that was a quick demo of Sana Agent Builder.
Awesome. Appreciate that. It's great to see it for one of the first times. So I appreciate you sharing this with us. And you've demonstrated your expertise during this episode, Rick, and it shows the huge amount of experience that you have. But this is not all talk. You've been the co-founder of Incubane for 1 year. You went from 0 to 40 customers, over 20 people working with you. Tell us just about this journey this last year, how that growth kind of helped you, like what kind of roadblocks did you face? How's entrepreneurship in general?
Yeah. So, just like a roller coaster, it's amazing at times and also very scary and stressful at other times. And we started out with 0 customers, and Matt and myself basically had to knock on doors to find our first customers to trust us, because you are basically a new company, you have no references, and of course we were in the ecosystem for quite some time, so you have some kind of reputation, but still asking a company to trust a very new company, I think that's a big ask. So I was very grateful, especially for those first customers, to all of them, of course, but especially those first ones who said, well, we believe in you guys, we trust you, let's work together. There's nobody to say no to you, right? So it's basically whatever you feel is important, you can bring into the market. And it has been a lot of fun, and we have now a great team with so many talented people, new people that are coming into the ecosystem for the first time that we are training, but also experienced people that are joining us because they also believe in our vision of really bringing more innovation to the market. So I never regretted the move, but there were definitely moments where it was a little bit scary.
Yeah, those doubts will never leave, even after 10 years. You'll see. I think I would assume that one reason why you had this success and even those phone moments is also your relationship with your co-founder. What makes this duo work? Like, how do you complement each other?
Yeah. I was very privileged to be able to work with Matt because I think when you start a business, it's almost like getting married. You put in your life savings, all of it you pull together, and you are also working together for 24/7. So it's a very big commitment. But luckily, I already knew Matt, and we actually worked together really close on the project I talked about earlier. So I felt very fortunate to work with him. But also more importantly, and I think this is also... we share similar values. So we love the innovation side of it, but also we love having fun at projects. Basically, when we started discussing, about the culture at Incubane, we saw quite quickly that we had similar values, and we made those very much a core part of our business. So whenever we hire new people, we look at, do they share these values of the company? But we also talk about it with customers. This is what we find important on projects. So they are not just fancy words on a wall, but they are actually something we try to embed in our culture, in our way of working.
Yeah, and I love hearing that about Matt. I always see his content on LinkedIn as well. I didn't have the chance to chat with him a lot, but I'll certainly do it after this episode, and even have him on the podcast if he's interested.
I'm sure he would love to be here, and he's a fun guest to have.
No, that's awesome. Rick, I appreciate your time, appreciate all of the knowledge that you've shared. I personally learned so much during this episode. That was something that I was very keen to learn, and I'm pretty sure that the audience feels the same way. One last question for you that I like to ask. If you had to give one advice to yourself before you joined the Workday ecosystem, what would it be?
I think the one thing I would say is don't be afraid to fail. I mean, it's such a cliche, but it's a cliche because it's true, right? You learn way more when you are out of your comfort zone. I would also say that the moments that still are with me of my Workday career are actually the moments where I failed and where I messed up. Those are really the big learning moments that stick with you. And if everything goes smoothly, then you are probably in your comfort zone. So don't be afraid to take that step out and make a mistake every now and then.
Appreciate that advice, Rick. Even if it's cliche, as you said, it's super true. People have to live it to understand that advice. So I'm hoping everyone relates to it. I'm sure also customers are watching this and they might be interested in stand-up. So how can they reach out to you? How can they find you?
The easiest way is LinkedIn. I'm on your feed daily, probably, with all the LinkedIn posts we do at Incubane, because we find it important to share knowledge. But that's the easiest way to reach us.
Awesome. And I'll put your website and your LinkedIn profile as well in the description for the ones interested. Rick, thank you very much for your time in this episode. And I hope we get to meet very soon as well.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.